As we move on to NOE fractures, or naso-orbital ethmoidal fractures, before we look at a CT scan, it's important to visualize the anatomy and understand what we're looking at. As we'll learn in this module, the nasal, orbital, and zygomatic bones are all intricately related, and thus fracture of one can cause fracture of many others. When it comes to the naso-orbital ethmoidal fractures, force applied to the nasal bones can dissipate into your orbital and ethmoidal bones. This causes a pattern of fractures known as an NOE fracture, and this is what we'll be examining throughout this module. As we look at our scan, you'll realize that we've already examined the areas of a NOE fracture. When looking at a CT facial bones for fractures, it's important to take a stepwise approach that we've been teaching in this module and in this course, rather than looking for specific fractures like an NOE fracture or a ZMC fracture. Rather, you'll look for fractures and note them in specific areas that will lead you to the conclusion that an NOE fracture has occurred or that pattern of fracture is present. In our coronal view, we see our nasal bones here, as well as the frontal process of the maxilla here. As we go more posteriorly, we see our medial wall of the orbit and our ethmoidal sinuses. This is the area of an NOE pattern of fracture, involving the nasal, orbital, ethmoidal region. In an axial view, you can get a good look at these areas. For example, in this scan, we can see our nasal bone here on the right side, connecting with the frontal process of the maxilla, which is part of the orbital bones, and our medial wall here, our ethmoidal sinuses, and our ethmoidal bone. Remember, it's common for the lacrimal bone to be involved as well, and any bones that involve the medial wall of the orbit. Once again, I would like to emphasize that when analyzing a CT facial bone scan, you won't particularly be looking for an NOE fracture. Rather, while doing your analysis, you will note fractures of the nasal bone, the orbital region, the medial wall, the ethmoidal region, and this will lead you to realize that there's a pattern of fracture known as an NOE fracture that is present on your scan.